You are listening to the Take a Step podcast, where we help growth-minded young professionals live every day on purpose. Today, we've got another edition of the Weekly Mile, where we take a look back at one of the previous editions of the Weekly Mile newsletter and dive in. The title of this week's edition is Killing Complacency, where we really dive in to this toxic complacency that's permeated our culture today with our businesses, our families, our friend groups, and really our mindsets and the implications that that's had and what we can actually do as next steps to overcome it. So you guys enjoy. Let's take a step. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we've got another edition of the Weekly Mile, where we take a look back at one of the previous editions of the Weekly Mile newsletter and dive in. The title of this week's edition is Killing Complacency. Complacency. It's a place where so many people find themselves early in their adult lives. They've jumped on the hamster wheel of professional growth, recently gotten married, and maybe even begun expanding the family. They're trying to figure out how to build physical strength, let alone just manage staying in shape. Spiritually, they feel like growth has plateaued and faith has just become another checklist of routines without intention or excitement. Overall, life is just going through the motions, drifting at the mercy of their external environment. If their boss gives them a raise, then great. But if he or she shows up in a bad mood and snaps, the whole week is ruined. If they're tired and hit snooze, the workout doesn't happen that day, and probably not for the next few days or even weeks in some scenarios. If they come home and their wife has steak dinner ready, with the table set, that relationship feels cherished. But if she's having a harder day and is more on edge, her mood dictates how they respond. They may show up to church on Sunday, but their faith is nowhere to be found in their personal life Monday through Saturday. Their life is dictated by everything around them, and for many, that's all they've ever known. Now, why is that? Since the early 2000s, our culture has been ingrained with this idea that our desires should be satisfied quickly and easily. And if it takes too long or gets a little uncomfortable, just move on and find the path of least resistance. You can see this in almost every corner of our society. Poor nutrition, rising obesity, broken marriages, social disconnection in youth, declining church attendance, get-rich-quick schemes, NIL culture and college athletics, overprotective parenting. Shall I go on? We have built a society obsessed with comfort that does everything possible to avoid challenges. But here's the truth. Adversity is inevitable. The question is, will you choose it now or be forced into it later? This isn't just my opinion. Jesus says in John 16:33, in this world, you will face suffering. Not you might. Not if you have the best plan, you can avoid it. You will face it. There's no way around it. You will either choose hard now, learn from the adversity, and be prepared for what comes, or you will be forced into adversity later. And it will be far more difficult because you will not be ready. So what are your options? Continue living a life of complacency, allowing the world to dictate when adversity will strike? Or 2, take ownership, take action, and face adversity head on. Option 1 we've already covered, which leaves us with one alternative. Take ownership and take action. Will it be uncomfortable at first? Yes. Will your ego take a hit? Also yes. And that's exactly what you need for a few reasons. First, the quickest way through a storm is into the storm. If you run from your problems, then when they catch up to you, you'll be stuck in the struggle much longer. Second, the best way to clarify what to do next is through action. You can sit back and try the perfect plan all you want, but nothing will open your eyes like lived experience. Action produces clarity. Guys, we'll get back to the episode in just a moment, but I've got to take a second to tell you guys about the official sponsor of the Take a Step podcast, MMP Customs. They make all of the Take a Step apparel, and honestly, they're the best at what they do. I know Nathan Mooney, the owner, personally, and he is just someone who embodies the Take a Step mindset. He took action on this business a few years ago and turned his entire downstairs of his house into a full production facility. And at this facility, he's built an amazing team that serves clients both small and large, whether if it's outfitting your staff, gifts for a client, or any custom branded merchandise. They're your people and they're fit for the job. Something really cool they recently did for Take a Step is on their website, they built out a custom page specific for Take a Step apparel and merchandise that I can now send people directly to, and I'll link that down below and they can do the same for you. So if you have any need for custom apparel or merchandise, MMP Customs is the place. Let's get back into the episode. You can always pivot where you're going, but you can't pivot momentum that was never generated. And the only way to generate momentum is to just take a step. But what about what others will say about me? Who cares? Let them live in fear. Just take a step. But I don't know anyone else that's done it. Let them build their version of success. That's not yours. Just take a step. But I don't know if it'll work. You'll never know if you don't try. Don't spend the rest of your life wondering what if. Just take a step. But I'm not built like those who've done it before. They were once nobodies too. We all have the same 24 hours. Just take a step. But I've already dug too deep of a hole. You cannot change the past, but you have complete control over the decisions you make in the future. Just take a step. Now, guys, if these questions at the end had any level of resonance with you, it's because these are the very questions I spent asking myself or telling myself for years of my life that kept me in that state of complacency. And I know so many people that's keeping them there as well. And the last thing I want for anybody is to feel like there's any sort of external factor that is keeping them stuck because they've convinced themselves that they have to stay complacent. All that is the victim mindset coming back to people. But the growth mindset says, despite what anyone else says, despite my fears, despite my need to have all the answers, all I need to do is take a step. And like I mentioned earlier, you find clarity through your actions. Through the actions that you take, through the small steps, it opens up the path. So all you need to do is just take a step. Here are 3 questions to help generate that momentum. Number 1, where in your life are you letting comfort dictate your growth instead of choosing discomfort to build strength? Number 2, what one step could you take this week to move from reaction to intentional action? And then 3, who in your life could benefit from seeing you lead by example, even in small ways? Thank you guys for listening to another episode of the Take a Step podcast. If you enjoyed it, please leave a rating on whichever platform you're listening. And if you know somebody that would resonate with this, share this with them and let's continue growing this community. Every mile begins with a step.